I would think, since it was a State Department-led mission, that would have been the first thing that you would have wanted to get out. But instead, if I understand correctly from the email chain, your first request was to see how soon the FBI could get over there. Is that a true statement?
Well, Congressman, the FEST went to East Africa to help rebuild our embassy capacity. They have expertise in once our two embassies were bombed, how do we regain communications, for example? We were not going to rebuild in Benghazi, so there was no reason to send a FEST team. There was a reason to try to get the FBI investigators into Benghazi as soon as it was safe for them to go, so they could start to try to build a case so we could bring the perpetrators of the attack to justice. That was absolutely the primary goal that we had in working with the FBI. And I think it's, when we make a decision on a deployment of the FEST, it is not just the Secretary of State. In this case, there was the NSC involved, there was the CIA involved, there was a civets about it, and the considered conclusion was we're not going to rebuild in Benghazi. So yes, we did.
Well, that was a quick decision to make that. You were not going to rebuild in Benghazi.
Well, the FEST would not have. There was nothing to rebuild.
But you just mentioned all the agencies that would have been important to get on the ground as quick as possible and summarize what the situation was to give you that direction. But I know I'm out of time, Mr. Chairman, but I do want to say what Ms. Roby was trying to get you to say is what decisions did you make in regard to Benghazi, and what were you responsible to make? And I think that's what all of us want to know. What did you do? And what decisions did you make? And you said everybody else is responsible for everything else. What were you responsible for?
I was responsible for sending Chris Stevens to Benghazi as an envoy. I was responsible for supporting a temporary mission that we were constantly evaluating to determine whether it should become permanent in Benghazi. I was responsible for recommending Chris Stevens to be the ambassador. I was responsible for working on the policy both before and after the end of the Gaddafi regime. I was responsible for quite a bit, Congressman. I was not responsible for specific security requests and decisions. That is not something I was responsible for.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair will now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, we're now almost at the end of the second round of questions.